Here are the top stories for today, November 19, 2021. It's more fun again soon. The Philippines is set to reopen its borders to fully vaccinated tourists from green list countries before the year ends to spur tourism recovery amid the pandemic. President Rodrigo Duterte expresses hope that the seaport development projects in Mindoro will boost the island's economic and tourism activities. The Commission on Elections releases the rules of fair campaign for next year's polls, including the conduct of online rallies as the country prepares for its first election under a pandemic. And the Philippines asserts the 2016 arbitral ruling on the West Philippine Sea at the 11th ASEAN Maritime Forum, which coincidentally took place on the day when Chinese Coast Guard vessels harassed two Filipino supply boats en route to the Ayungin Shoal. Good day, I'm Marita Muahe. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The use of face shields under alert levels 1, 2, and 3 is now voluntary. However, acting presidential spokesperson Carlo Nograles clarified that employers may still require their employees to wear face shield in their workplaces. Nograles also said that private establishments may also require their customers to wear face shields within their establishments.
Use of face shields is now voluntary in areas under alert levels 1, 2, and 3. So hindi na po required ito sa lugar nyo kung alert level 3 or mas mababa. However, in IATF Resolution number 149, we clarified that the voluntary use of face shields for areas under alert levels 1 to 3 is, and I quote, without prejudice to employers still requiring their use for their employees or workers and or customers in their respective premises. End of quote. Kaya pwede pong i-require ng mga employers ang mga empleyado nila mag-face shield.
Meanwhile, Secretary Carlo Nograles also clarified that partially vaccinated employees need not undergo regular RT-PCR tests at their own expense, as long as their second dose is not yet due. He added that employers may determine the need for an RT-PCR test, which can be done at least once every 2 weeks.
All partially vaccinated employees in the public and private sector tasked to do on-site work need not undergo regular RT-PCR testing at their own expense, as long as their second dose is not yet due. Ang employer ang magsasabi kung gaano kadalas ang RT-PCR testing para sa mga empleyado na hindi pa fully vaccinated na nasa on-site. And this should be done at least once every 2 weeks.
A batch of over 1.3 million doses of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine arrived in the Philippines on Friday as the government prepares for the 3-day national vaccination drive from November 29 to December 1. The government procured doses arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 1. Deputy Presidential Peace Advisor Undersecretary Isidro Purisima said the additional doses would particularly help ramp up the government's Bayanihan Bakunahan, which aims to vaccinate 15 million individuals over 3 days. The shipment brings the total COVID-19 vaccine doses delivered to the country at over 130 million. Purisima assured that there would be enough vaccines as the government started the booster vaccination for healthcare workers on November 17. The government targets to complete the administration of booster shots to at least 1.6 million health workers by the end of November, and it will be followed by the other priority sectors. Fully vaccinated tourists from green list countries and territories may soon enter the Philippines. The Interagency Task Force is expected to come out with the guidelines before the end of the month. The Department of Tourism said the IATF has approved in principle the entry of fully vaccinated tourists from green list countries. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat said this move to open leisure travel from green countries would be based on strict conditions. As such, only fully vaccinated individuals with vaccines recognized by the FDA under an emergency use authorization or those authorized by the World Health Organization will be allowed entry to the country. Minors in Cebu and Davao City will soon be restricted from going out, especially in crowded areas, to prevent them from getting exposed from the threat of COVID-19. The details are from William Theo.
In Cebu, the city government has disallowed children 15 years of age and below from entering supermarkets and grocery stores starting Monday, November 22nd. This as the Emergency Operations Center in the areas noted that closed and crowded establishments can become primary venues of COVID-19 transmission. City Councilor and EOC head Joel Gargañera said people tend to jam-pack these establishments due to the limited space in grocery stores and supermarket. He said the only way to lessen the crowd size is to leave children outside. And in Davao City, parents and guardians are reminded to take extra precautions when bringing their children to crowded places. Dr. Michelle Schlosser, spokesperson of the Davao City COVID-19 Task Force, said that minors, especially those below 11 years old, are at risk of contracting the virus, considering that these are the unvaccinated population. She said the COVID-19 Task Force will come up with imposing restrictions on minors, especially when getting near the closed, crowded, and close contact, or 3Cs. For the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo.
Cebu City Mayor Edgardo Labella passed away before dawn today due to a health condition. His son, Edgardo J.P. Labella Jr., said his father died at the age of 70 due to septic shock secondary to pneumonia. Before he became mayor in 2019, Labella served 2 consecutive terms as vice mayor of Cebu City from 2013 to 2019. He was a member of the City Council representing Cebu City's North District from 1998 to 2001 and again from 2004 to 2013. Acting Mayor Michael Rama urged residents to pause for a moment of silence and offer prayers for Mayor Labella's eternal rest. In San Juan City, residents can now enjoy doing both indoor and outdoor contact sports provided that health and safety protocols are being followed. Under the guidelines issued by the city government, only fully vaccinated residents aged 12 and above are allowed to join the contact sports or watch the games on site. Players are allowed to remove face masks during the games, while audiences are required to wear face masks and follow the minimum public health standards at all times. The maximum capacity for outdoor venues is at 70%, while the indoor venues are at 50% capacity. Before entering the venues, the organizers must check the vaccination cards and place temperature checkpoints. Everyone in the venue is also required to fill up a contact tracing form. A regional simultaneous vaccination activity was held in Central Luzon today. The move is in line with the national government's goal to ensure population protection against COVID-19 and to prepare students for the implementation of limited face-to-face classes. A total of 19 higher education institutions across the region will serve as vaccination centers. With the theme, Mag-aaral, Rumes, Bakuna na, Now na, Bakunado, Protektado. CHED-OIC Regional Director Maria Teresita Semana said prioritizing the students' safety is behind their aggressive effort. CHED targets to inoculate 70% to 80% of tertiary students by the end of November. Ilocos Norte, Pangasinan, and Bacolod City have eased their entry requirements for incoming travelers. The details from Benj Bondoc.
In Ilocos Norte, returning residents and tourists who are fully vaccinated no longer need to present a negative COVID-19 test result. For unvaccinated and partially vaccinated tourists who are coming from Alert Level 4 areas, they will still be required to show a negative RT-PCR test taken within 72 hours or antigen test was taken within 24 hours upon arrival. Governor Matthew Joseph Manotoc said the easing of travel protocols is gradual because the vaccination rate of the province is barely halfway of the targeted 70% of the population. In Pangasinan, the Safe, Swift, Smart Passage or S-Pass is no longer required for entry, but travelers may still need to undergo health and exposure screening at the border checkpoints. However, those coming from areas under granular lockdown, Alert Level 5, Enhanced Community Quarantine, and Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine shall be prevented from entry to Pangasinan except for authorized persons outside of residence carrying valid authority to travel. Bacolod City also lifted the S-Pass travel requirement but for arriving overseas Filipino workers only. For OFWs who are coming from yellow countries, they will be required to present a negative RT-PCR test result after completing the required quarantine days. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondok.
Still to come, presidential hopefuls present their plans on their first 100 days in office. We take a listen. And the poll body releases the rules for fair campaign ahead of the 2022 polls. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly changed our lives for the worse. Lives and jobs were lost and economies reached a meltdown. Thanks to the arrival of safe and effective vaccines, we are one step closer to normalcy. It's time to do our part, get vaccinated for our safety and for our recovery.
You are there in that community, go there and have yourself vaccinated by any of the vaccines available. They are all potent, they are all effective.
I would like to appeal to all our kababayans, please get vaccinated against COVID-19 and be the government partner in preventing further spread of the disease. I encourage you to get vaccinated as soon as possible time. These vaccines are safe and they are the key to reopening our society. The need for international solidarity and cooperation cannot be made clearer than this pandemic because everyone is safe. No one is safe globally until everybody is safe.
Vaccines work.
Five presidential aspirants bared their economic platforms when elected in the top national position. During the 47th Philippine Business Conference and Expo of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, aspirants for the top post were given the chance to discuss their programs for the economy. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno aims to slash taxes on petroleum and electricity. He also wants to continue the Build, Build, Build program of the current administration, focusing on affordable housing. For Senator Christopher Bongo, he said he wants to continue the comprehensive tax reform program, National Rice Program, Pondo sa Pagbabago at Pag-asenso or P3 program, and the Build, Build, Build program, among others. For Senator Panfilo Lacson, he said he will prioritize key infrastructure projects, especially on transportation, inter-island connectivity, regional food terminals, and health facilities. He also wants to stop excavating roads that are in still good condition, saying the government has spent 78 billion pesos in the past 5 years just for preventive maintenance of roads and other infrastructure alone. For Senator Manny Pacquiao, he said his administration will further cut corporate income tax from the current 25% to 15%. He added the government should focus on revenue generation but boosting the non-tax revenues of the government. The retired boxing champ said he will also push for a clean government by eliminating all corrupt officials. Meanwhile, Vice President Leni Robredo said she will improve spending on infrastructure and education. She said her administration will also roll out a national assessment program that will diagnose the missed learning of students due to the pandemic and will guide a remediation program to help in addressing learning losses. 5 presidential candidates have shared their plans during the first 100 days in office during the 47th Philippine Business Conference and Expo on Thursday. All 5 aspirants share a common goal to end the pandemic and push for economic recovery by strengthening the healthcare system and creating more jobs. Senator Bongo plans to double the number of malasakit centers and push for the creation of Department for Disaster Resilience, migrant workers and overseas Filipinos, and a Center for Disease and Control. Senator Manny Pacquiao shares the same goal of returning to pre-pandemic economic growth and aims to give housing to informal settlers. Vice President Leni Robredo said she will increase the support for healthcare workers, expand the hospital capacity, and make COVID-19 testing accessible to more Filipinos. Senator Panfilo Lacson will focus on free vaccination and access to affordable, newly developed COVID-19 pills and rebuild trust towards public officials. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno will reduce the number of officials in government agencies and prioritize qualified career service persons in key positions. The Commission on Elections has allowed candidates in the May 2022 elections to conduct e-rallies and live streams during the campaign period. In Resolution number 10730 promulgated on November 17, the Comelec said those who are running in the polls may hold political meetings, rallies, or other similar activities online. The poll body said all rallies shall confirm compliance with minimum health protocols and provides the relevant date, time, and location information. Candidates may receive in-platform gifts and game currency but shall not be allowed to give or award gifts to live stream audiences. The Comelec added that the live streaming of e-rallies shall be conducted every night beginning February 8, 2022 on the official social media channels of the Comelec. February 8 is the start of the campaign period for national positions such as President, Vice President, Senator, and party list representatives. It will run until May 7, 2022. President Rodrigo Duterte has praised the National Task Force and local communist armed conflicts for undertaking initiatives to bring development to insurgency-cleared areas in the country. During the NTF-LCOC's joint meeting in Calapan City, Oriental, Mindoro, Duterte expressed dismay over the Senate's decision to slash the proposed 2022 funding for NTF-LCOC from 28.12 billion pesos to just 4 billion pesos. Duterte hailed the anti-insurgency task force for its development projects in areas no longer infested with the New People's Army. He was referring to the NTF-LCOC's Barangay Development Program, which includes farm-to-market roads, livelihood irrigation, and health stations. A total of 1,406 insurgency-cleared villages nationwide are expected to benefit from the BDP in 2022. Duterte expressed hope that local officials and community leaders would continue helping his administration in its fight against communism. President Rodrigo Duterte on Thursday expressed confidence that the 8 improved and expanded seaports in the provinces of Mindoro will lead to robust economic and tourism growth in the island. The president was present during the simultaneous inauguration of 8 integrated seaport development projects in Occidental and Oriental Mindoro. Duterte said the new ports affirm his administration's resolve to improve Filipinos' lives by pursuing vital projects even amid the COVID-19 pandemic. He acknowledged that the island of Mindoro plays a significant role in boosting the country's interconnectivity as a gateway for passengers and goods coming from Luzon to Visayas and Mindanao and vice versa. The improved and expanded seaports include the 2 port projects in the port of Abra de Ilog in Occidental Mindoro, as well as the port projects in the ports of Calapan, Balatero, Bulalakaw, Mansalay, Bansud, and Rojas in Oriental Mindoro. More stories from the newsroom. The Philippine Coast Guard's patrol capability in the West Philippine Sea gets a boost with 2 new ships. And a jeepney driver is thankful for another chance for a better life thanks to the BP2 program. Back after a quick break, stay with the PNA Newsroom. The Philippine Coast Guard announced the acquisition of 2 97-meter multi-role response vessels, which are seen to boost the country's ability to patrol the West Philippine Sea and the rest of its maritime jurisdiction. The PCG said the ships manufactured by Mitsubishi Shipbuilding in Japan will be the PCG's largest vessels, exceeding the 83-meter offshore patrol vessel BRP Gabriela Silang. They are capable of a maximum speed of not lower than 24 knots and an endurance of 4,000 nautical miles or more. This is part of the Maritime Safety Capability Improvement Project Phase 2 of the Department of Transportation for the modernization of the PCG. Meanwhile, the Philippine government asserted anew the 2016 arbitral award in the South China Sea during the 11th ASEAN Maritime Forum last November 16. The forum happened on the day when 3 Chinese Coast Guard vessels blocked and fired a water cannon onto Philippine boats while en route to the Ayungin Shoal. Foreign Affairs Assistant Secretary Daniel Espiritu said Manila upholds the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which enables assertion of the arbitral award. He expressed the Philippines' commitment to achieving the early conclusion of a code of conduct in the South China Sea. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian on November 18 confirmed that the CCG prevented the Filipino boats from trespassing what was called China's territory. Zhao said the 2 nations are in communication on this subject. A public utility jeep driver for 12 years is coming home to Negros Oriental as one of 28 beneficiaries of the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa or BP2 program. After the government stopped public transportation and imposed a strict lockdown, 37-year-old Ruben Docto said he was forced to hunker down at home due to pandemic-induced restrictions, resulting in them piling up debt. Once he returns to Negros Oriental, Docto said he plans to avail of skills training as well as other opportunities for his family to start anew. He also called for the continuity of the program, which has been helping Filipinos in Metro Manila return to the provinces and have a fresh start. The BP2 program is an initiative of the national government created to address the congestion in Metro Manila's urban areas. Government operatives on Wednesday destroyed over 11 million pesos worth of marijuana plants and arrested 3 people in separate law enforcement operations in Barangay Linga, Luok, Sulu. Authorities arrested Atimula Jaharin and Bakil Kadil, both cultivators, while the third suspect was only identified as a certain Bakil, owner of 3 of the plantations. Sulu Acting Provincial Police Director Colonel Jaime Mojica said some 10,000 field grade marijuana plants worth 2 million pesos were destroyed in the first plantation. Colonel Hernani Sungano, 4th Marine Brigade Commander, said the troops uncovered 3 other marijuana plantations in Sitio Tangan-Tangan, also in Barangay Linga. Operatives there destroyed some 11,000 fully grown marijuana plants and recovered 2 boxes of dried marijuana leaves worth some 9.5 million pesos. Ogale and Sungano lauded the troops for the successful law enforcement operations. In celebration of UNESCO's World Science Day, the Philippine Sports Commission presents a special back-to-back episode of Rise Up, Shape Up, highlighting women coaching and leadership on November 20 to 21. Coach Patricia Puzon, founding director of MAC's Crankit Tennis Academy of Australia, will share her experiences in the November 20 episode. Coach Henry So, Australian Tennis Professional Coaches Association International Director for Strength and Conditioning, will be starred on the Sunday episode. Meanwhile, Women in Sports Commissioner Celia Kiram will share inspiring anecdotes of Puzon and So in her regular segment, K Sport. The special webisode will also showcase snippets of the 3-day virtual 2021 Women's Leadership Training and Coaching Seminar by PSC Women in Sports. PSC Chairperson William Ramirez hopes that the episode will inspire the public to develop their champion mindset and build healthy habits for growth and development. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. It's more fun again soon. The Philippines is set to reopen its borders to fully vaccinated tourists from green list countries before the year ends to spur tourism recovery amid the pandemic. President Rodrigo Duterte expresses hope that the seaport development projects in Mindoro will boost the island's economic and tourism activities. The Commission on Elections releases the rules of fair campaign for next year's polls, including the conduct of online rallies as the country prepares for its first election under a pandemic. And the Philippines asserts the 2016 arbitral ruling on the West Philippine Sea at the 11th ASEAN Maritime Forum, which coincidentally took place on the day when Chinese Coast Guard vessels harassed 2 Filipino supply boats en route to the Ayungin Shoal. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, you may watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. It's nearing Christmas as it is now only 36 days before Christmas. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that inspire change. I'm Marita Muaje. Have a good day and stay safe.